Neyal Alura Medve Bura, and welcome to Shift+F1, a podcast about speedy race cars. That, of course, is Hungarian for don't drink on the bear's skin in advance.
Oh.
Yes, that's roughly equivalent, Danny, to don't count your chickens before they hatch.
Oh, in advance. You can, what, in advance of what? At what stage is it safe to drink off of the bear skin?
I'm not sure. I don't know how much drinking Mercedes and Ferrari have been doing on bear skin, but they better not, because McLaren is still a threat. I'm Drew Scanlon. Joining me, Danny O'Dwyer. How are you, Danny?
I'm good. There was a nice rhythmic nature to that. It felt almost like a song or a poem. You know what I mean? Yeah, very.
Sure.
I like it. I never.
Yeah, you can get those in
Hungary. Hungary has poems. It's news to me, mate.
Wow. So in Ireland, is poem one syllable?
Oh, what did I say? You said poem.
You're saying poem.
Poem, yeah. Poem. Which, in fairness, considering how many feckin' great poets we put out there, I'm going to say we've earned the right to call it whatever we want. You know what I mean?
Just like fire.
Seamus Heaney, man. He gives you a lot of leeway when you're talking about poems.
Speaking of literary geniuses, Rob Zachney, how are you, Rob?
No, I agree. Like, Ireland has been poeming the world in literary achievements for years.
Thank you, man. That's beautiful.
If you are new to the podcast, a very warm welcome to you. And if you are new to Formula One itself, we recommend listening to our preseason primer episode. It's like a 2-hour poem, which assumes no prior F1 knowledge and explains how the sport works and who everybody is. It doesn't rhyme. It's sort of an open verse.
Yeah, but it has a very sort of good, stable patter, especially when we're talking about the teams. We have to get through more than ever this year. So, we talk about all the drivers you need to know about, all the racetracks you need to know about, some of which are still on the calendar. So yeah, especially if hey, we're coming up to a mid-season break here, folks. So, if you want to dive back in or relearn how we messed up in our thoughts for what was going to happen this season. Rob Zachney's already getting phone calls about how inaccurate we were. So we've
you thought Aston Martin might be okay. That's episode 338. If you'd like to go back and listen to that little time capsule. Also, the show would not be possible without our audience over at patreon.com/shiftf1, where every month we release ad-free versions of this podcast early, along with bonus pods and videos exclusively for our patrons that cover racing documentaries and films, F1 video games, experiments with other racing series, and a lot of weird things. So if you would like to support the show and get access to all that fun stuff, head over to patreon.com/shiftf1 or click the link in the show notes. What do we have going on this month, Denny?
We're reviewing the movie The Great Race from 1965, which, considering its name and year, I'm assuming is a movie about ranking all of the races that we have on this beautiful blue marble we live on. I, for one, think Maori is going to win. I'm not sure who's going to be at the bottom. Depends. Irish, us and the Poles might be fighting out for the bottom spot. We'll have to watch the
this
great race.
This is what happens when a guy's up too late watching the All Blacks play and just decides he's basically got a lock on the future of humanity. These guys are incredible.
I'm just saying, what people say, like, if you died and you came back as a different animal, if you died and you came back as a different human, I think about it a lot. I'd be like, yeah, I think Maori,
All right.
Nobody messes with that. You know what I mean? Like they have the physical aspect, they have the spiritual aspect. Nobody messes with them because even if you don't respect,
they got that haka.
They have that, and they have that haka. Come on,
yeah,
they have that haka. My lord, bring me back as a Maori. Yeah, like one of the All Blacks, the women's rugby team. That's what I want to be next time.
I think we basically got a lock on Maori culture from exposure to haka videos and the high achieving professional athletes.
Moana 2 in cinemas now. You know what I mean?
Too.
That's adjacent.
There are cars in that?
Are there cars? There are not. There are boats, and they do. In fairness, it is quite like what was that professional boating series?
America's Cup?
Sail.
Yeah.
Sail GP?
Oh, I was thinking of America's Cup, but you're right. Sail! I forgot about Sail as well. Yeah. We have to.
We have a primer for Sail GP.
We do have. We did a whole primer on Sail GP. Check it out. Become a patron today. Get all the good stuff.
Yes, The Great Race. Have you watched it yet, Danny?
I have not, which is why I think it's about eugenics or something.
Great. All right. You'll be in for a treat. Then,
Okay.
I guess.
Does it have cars in it? Surely not. The only prerequisite to us doing a movie on the Patron pod.
Though sometimes we can be misinformed.
That's right.
What's the least car movie we're at now? What was-
it's that Hallmark movie we did last year.
Yeah.
The one
Journey
where,
Back to Christmas.
Oh my god!
Yeah,
Oh
where
my
she
god!
gets in a low-speed vehicle accident during a time warp or something, and that's the end of the car.
Was I around for that one? I
No.
don't. No, I was about to say because I'm like, there's no like, it's bad. This has happened where I've watched movies with you guys and then have completely forgotten them.
Yeah.
But no, I guess
The
I just.
Stuntman, also very few cars. There is a car plays a pivotal role. in
Yeah,
that
no,
movie.
I think Stuntman, like, well, one, I think we talked about that not really fitting the classification, but that was before the Hallmark movie, Journey Back to
True.
Christmas.
Right.
So with those standards, Stuntman is in a great place, but he gets nearly drowned in a car. The whole movie is leading up to a car stunt. It's set in motion by a car, so I think it counts.
I mean, we were worried about cars not having enough cars in them or not being outside of the remit, but we were summer
Are we
children
filling?
back
I have
then.
67 laps of notes.
Yeah,
You
let's
do?
do it.
Okay, I don't. So all right. Shout out to
Patrons Day.
Shout out to our talent sponsors. Zalander Algoshari de plot to produce the military industrial complex, War Izzle, R.I.P. Egberto and Igor Furman, That Video Game Podcast, Let's Margot Racing, Eaching Wells, Dr. V, Dean, It's a me, Ferrario, Zach Brown is actually Andrew Ryan. Whoa, would you kindly?
Whoa.
Would you kindly become a patron? Nicotine pouches.
Oh my! It's gonna be so sad when Lando clubs him to death with a putter. Oh my god! Spoilers! I'm so sorry if you've been putting off BioShock.
It's been off a while. Nicotine pouches.
Let me ask you a question.
Mojo Nixon, Get Rich or Die Ryan, Agave ATX, Cyphers Training, Turf SES, Michael Maves, Cigarettes, TelemetryDeck.com, FTC, Bottas Calendar 2026, Drew Stewart, Rich Energy Circuit, Bailey Foot, Abraham Getchell, The Lally Lulelo, Hashtag Bunnyfiend, Snigs, Alex Goucher, Jeff Foster, Troy Stammer, William Rumpf, Fancy Triceratops, Lachlan the Maddened Man, Samurai Love Story, and Jason Kelly. Thank you all so much for your incredible support. Let's talk about some racing.
Indeed, Danny, the Hungarian Grand Prix and the first non-Mercedes pole position of the year from one Lando Norris.
Yeah, fascinating Q3 on this one. A lot of people on their second run just not finding the time. Lots of yellow sectors. And yeah, we wondered about this one with the fast turns. It's not quite in the window for Mercedes dominance, but McLaren brought some upgrades and seemed to move the needle as well. I'm not quite sure they have entered the season, but yeah, it was definitely a strong performance by both drivers, and it was tight enough at the top there.
Verstappen spun in his final Q3 lap, bringing out a yellow flag, which in the eyes of the stewards, Antonelli drove straight on through. Russell behind did slow, but by the time Norris came through, Verstappen had driven off, so he didn't have to slow down. Max Verstappen had a fascinating quote after that. Let's see. The whole weekend has been tough. This is from racefans.net. But in qualifying, especially, the car is just degrading. We don't have tire deg. We have car degradation.
Whoa. New deg unlocked. It was funny watching people. I didn't watch quali live, but I watched a bunch of practice. I watched quali highlights after the fact. And when I was watching practice, there was a surprising amount of wiggly rears, like drivers really wrestling with the car. And obviously that happens a lot during practice, especially in P1 because of dust and cold tires, cold track, all that stuff. But it did seem like there was a lot, and you can see it in the onboards during quali. Like there was a lot of them really wrangling for grip, especially in that little last sector because it's uphill, so you can you can sort of push the car into the ground a little bit more, but at low speeds on those like last three turns, it can be pretty tricky. And obviously, yeah, it was tough for some of them.
some tailwinds as well.
Oh, right. Yeah, of course.
Gusty,
Yeah.
blustery winds. Yes, Lando Norris on pole. Charles Leclerc in second. And then the other McLaren of Oscar Piastri lining up third. Max Verstappen had a time good enough for fourth. And then Lewis Hamilton penalized 3 places for impeding Piastri in qualifying. I did not see this. I did not notice it, at least live, but in the highlights, it's pretty, I used to say, Danny.
Yeah, slam dunk.
Obvious.
Bad communication, and not the only time we would see this during the weekend.
Yeah. George Russell in sixth had to park it after the Q3 session. Apparently a water leak had necessitated a replacement of his power unit. He also, and Rob will have more color on this, I think, but he told the press that don't worry. If you saw Spa, we've ironed out all of the power unit bugs, so no problem here. Kimi Antonelli will start 7th because he was penalized for failing to slow for those yellow flags, 3 places, as mentioned, for the Verstappen spin. And then in 8th, Isaac Hadjar, followed by Arvid Lindblad and Nico Hulkenberg up there in Q3, starting from one better than old Nico, 11th place Hulkenberg.
Yeah,
starts.
Alonso made it into Q2 as well for the first time this year.
Yes, indeed. Ahead of him, though, Liam Lawson in 11th, followed by Pierre Gasly, Franco Colapinto in 13th, who crunched his rear wing into the wall in free practice, too.
Yeah.
Gabriel Bortoletto, 14th, Esteban Ocon, 15th, and then Fernando Alonso, as you say, Danny, his first Q2 of the season with those Aston Martin upgrades this weekend. And a reminder, they got the chassis upgrades for this race, and then they, I think for the next race, will have their new engine.
All right.
We'll see how that goes. Oliver Behrman, 17th, followed by Carlos Sainz, Alex Albon, Lance Stroll, Valtteri Bottas in 21st. Did want to point out that, as happens multiple times throughout the season, they had some rookies in the car in free practice 1. Colton Herta out there in the Cadillac. And then Sergio Perez, qualified 22nd, starts from the pit lane after his car was modified under parc fermé conditions. Danny, do you want to take us through the start?
Sure.
Of the Hungarian Grand Prix.
Lights out. Away they went. Everyone except for George Russell, who just has an absolute close to a nightmarish start and the worst place to do it, which is the middle of the pack. If you are relatively new to F1, we haven't had one of these in F1 in quite a while, but if you watch F2 and F3, you might be a bit more familiar with them. One of the worst places to have we used to have a stall more often when the car just doesn't really move at all, shunts forward and then loses clutch control and essentially stops. It's one of the worst places to stop because the car behind you notices and the car behind that might notice, but by the time the third car behind you is up to speed and closing in on you, if you still haven't moved, it can often lead to a very bad crash. We've seen many of them over the years. Thankfully, Hadjar does get around Russell where he is. Russell does get the car moving somewhat, so it basically, I think, avoids what could have been a much worse crash. But given Mercedes' pace around the track in the previous 2 days, it's kind of like a weekend wash for him at this stage.
They do have those. It was a good indication or a good demonstration of those new warning flashing lights that they have on the cars, because those immediately triggered.
Okay, on all the cars, was it?
No, just on Russell's.
Okay.
They've got more, warning lights that flash these days.
Nice one. There was a nice bit of Hamilton on Leclerc pressure, while the 2 McLarens up front stay in front into
Leclerc starting on that dusty side of the grid.
Yes.
So Piastri quickly jumps him
and
slots him behind Norris.
And classic Max Verstappen sort of getting in the mix there as well. So by the time we get down to turn 2, we have the 2 McLarens, as you said, up front, Verstappen and then the 2 Ferraris behind them. Max. As they get down into turn 2, Lando either overshoots it or just gets in the dusty part of the track a little bit, but he essentially ends up going wide, having a little bit of trouble without exit traction, and it opens the door for Piastri to get through. Hamilton then has gotten ahead of Leclerc. Leclerc has sort of stumbled back a little bit. And as they enter turn 3, him and Verstappen get unbelievably close. I don't know. In previous years, we would have said there wasn't contact, but these tires, we've said already a few times on the podcast this year, are somewhat impervious to the types of punctures that we used to be very used to when they touch front wings.
Rubbing is racing.
Yeah, and then they do it again about 2 corners later. Again, Hamilton and Verstappen. This was a little bit of a throwback because during this race, to me, this is the ultimate Hamilton trying to stick his nose out in front of Verstappen that we were very familiar with in the 2021 season. And later in this race, we will get the most classic Max Verstappen overtake that we also saw loads during that 2021 season. The only other note I have for this lap is Leclerc getting, after Hamilton and Verstappen had that second almost touch, around, I think it was turn 7 or 8, Leclerc gets a bit of a run up the inside of Hamilton, but ultimately decides against torpedoing his teammate, and Hamilton does retain the position, but it got a little bit hairy there for Lewis.
Yeah, Hamilton started on soft tires, as did Leclerc.
Yes.
So he's really trying to be aggressive to get by Verstappen, but is unable to do so. He then pits on lap 14, going on to hard tires, hoping to undercut Verstappen. Comes out behind Lindblad, but does a great job of getting around him around turn 5, where we have this time another drone shot that is level with the horizon.
Yeah.
I didn't mind this one.
I didn't mind it either. Also, sort of having operated a drone, you need to be, when you're that close, like the height, the thing about drones is they've got really wide lenses, so height is nice, it's easy, you can frame things. You have to be really close to the cars when you're that low to get the shot to work, and they did. It was pretty cool.
Yeah. Verstappen pits 1 lap later after Hamilton, goes from medium tires to hards, and despite being a little held up by Lindblad, Hamilton has the advantage and cruises by Verstappen as he exits the pits. Just 1 lap later, on lap 16, Hamilton has gotten by Lawson, who has not pitted yet, and presumably thought Lawson, Danny, would hold up Verstappen a bit.
Oh, yeah, of course.
But Verstappen instead dive bombs Lawson and Hamilton at turn 1 to take the position.
I would argue him and Lawson did a shake and bake. That he got that extra bit of launch. Lawson was never going to fight him, sister team. And yeah, the classic Verstappen, I'm going to go up the inside and I am the brake meister. We've seen him do it many times and knock it on the brakes and then push the other driver. I mean, that was the 2021 thing, was him forcing Lewis off the track a million times and us having to go to, what are they going to do this time? Are they going to give him a penalty or not? In fairness on this one, he absolutely nails the braking. He just scuppers Lewis's ability to even get a cutback on it. Kind of an aggressive overtake, but a really well done one.
When you see that kind of trail braking done that neatly, it's an incredible thing because you know how much the cars do not want to hold that line. And yeah, it was probably the overtake of the day, especially as the race goes on and the viable lines begin decreasing around the entire track as the rubber and grit buildup was really something.
Yeah, Anthony Davidson on the Sky broadcast had some good color on this. If I understood him correctly, he said that Hamilton had used his battery. He's watching at the onboard. He's watching him actually press the button on his steering wheel to get by Lawson, and therefore didn't have any juice to defend from Verstappen. Although, it's also tough to tell, like, did he even know he was coming? Because Verstappen complained that Hamilton moved under braking while he was making this pass. Yeah. Did he, or was he just taking a normal line and not expecting Verstappen? I think it's tough to say.
I think he was a little bit tight. I think he was defending a bit.
Little defending it.
Yeah, which honestly might have been, hindsight, it's obviously 2020, but might have been not the best idea because ultimately he was wedded to the side of Verstappen waiting for him to slow down. So, you can always maybe get a cut back. I don't know. That's a very, armchair quarterback way of. But then, what am I if not an armchair quarterback for F1?
It's true. Hamilton pits again on lap 31 for some new hard tires. And lap 34, it is Hungary, and Norris is again defiant on the radio, saying that he is faster than Piastri, so the team should let him through. McLaren politely declines and pits Piastri first because he's ahead. Fine stop for Piastri, but as he is clearing back markers,
Oh man,
Sainz apparently does not see Piastri and closes the door on him in turn 2. The two bang wheels, and Piastri does a really actually an incredible job of not losing the car on the grass, but it costs him a lot of time, so that when Norris eventually pits on lap 40, he comes out ahead of Piastri and into the effective lead of the race. Rob, your thoughts?
So there's something about McLaren and Hungary that is like Piastri and Norris. All the vibes always get pretty tense with these two. From one thing I'll say is an interesting moment about the politics of like preferential team strategy is when you had Norris like losing his shit, saying he's miles faster than Piastri is losing time. He's like, I want to come in, I want tires, and they tell him no. And it's just an interesting. Piastri didn't want to come in; he wanted to hit his normal stop, and therefore they still couldn't bring in Norris because technically you are giving him the undercut at that point. You're letting him undercut his teammate if you let him call that. But he did want the fresh tires, and Piastri didn't. So just an example of like where it gets kind of murky with teammate priority in situations like this, where Piastri was stretching a stint. Norris wanted to get off his tires and go for the undercut, and the team held it static, and I think they were kind of bailed out of more. I think it would have had a true McLaren classic of just lap after lap of testy messages over the radio if Piastri had stayed ahead, but Sainz kind of bails them out with a moment of somewhat oblivious driving. I don't think Piastri handled it amazingly well either. The going to the team like basically real nice. Thanks for putting me out in the middle of that. And it's like This is a short lap, dude. Like there's not that much space on the track. Like I'm sorry you ran into a back marker. We're halfway through this race. That's going to happen. But he was just a bit peevish at the time. It's not the first moment we've seen Sainz a bit oblivious in the Williams when he's sort of out of contention for the race, and so I don't think you can argue that Sainz didn't screw up, but at the same time, like Oscar, I don't know. To me, it still feels like Oscar didn't have to get in there either. You could have checked up a little bit and handled it. Stuff's always going wrong at that corner.
Yeah, I might have a different feeling on this one. I think so. Obviously, after the fact, Sainz was very apologetic and said, "Look, I was never told that he was there. Like, I never got the communication from my team. There was blue flags smashing up on the screen, so you'd hope. Obviously, he was fighting for position at the time,
right?
And so there's that, and also then Piastri ended up in his blind spot effectively as they rounded that second turn. So it was kind of a confluence of errors, but like I think Rob is right that Sergio Perez or Valtteri Bottas gets out of the way there because they're used to those blue flags flying, and it is a short lap and people are kind of all over the place and out of position and all that sort of stuff. I think this was a bit of a McLaren mess up when it comes to where they put him out, because this wasn't like halfway down the lap. This was on the second turn of the circuit. Like they put him out in blue flag traffic with two guys fighting. Like, if Lando wanted to go first, that was probably the right call retrospectively, was to let him go out and maybe not end up in the same amount of traffic, or do so, but he's not the driver who gets the preference. But I think sticking him out there on fresh tires when how many tires had the lads, the other two pitted earlier in the race had they pitted. I don't know, but like obviously the delta between him coming out and catching up with them was very, very quick, and I just think bit of a. It also doesn't give, you'd hope that the communications on the on Sainz's side would be good with Williams, but like it legitimately only gives the race engineer a turn and a half to let him know that Piastri is behind him.
Drew, real quick, can you pull up the lap chart real fast and see when Sainz stopped? Because
Yeah.
I have a note where it's quite like question mark, Sainz coming out of pits, and I'm not sure if
Lap
he was
19,
at that moment.
it looks like.
Okay, so he was just taking a line on the inside there.
So they're 15
so
laps old, his
the
tires.
tires are not. The tires should be fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a bit.
And he's on softs.
A bit of a clumsy moment. That's interesting. I tend to. It's tough to find good gaps at this point in a Grand Prix. The amount of clear space that you have to slot the car into, I think,
That's true.
is trickier, and this is not the roomiest lap on the F1 calendar. So I have a little bit of sympathy at a place like if this were like at a spa or something.
Yeah.
You have a lot of acreage to go and pick where a car is going to come out. But here, I kind of feel like this is one of those damned if you do, damned if you don't type situations. I think, they were clearly trying to give him optimal strategy just for pure like tire life. And it just broke bad from the standpoint of he ran into traffic, and then Sainz had kind of an oblivious moment.
Yeah,
And
it is
I
ultimately
think,
Sainz's fault. Like, he should have seen the flags. You're right. Yeah.
well, it's of a piece, I think, sometimes with like, nobody's happy at Williams right now, really, with the state of the car. And I think sometimes that comes through in performance, right? That I think sometimes when morale is a little bit low, you see drivers a little more checked out in these back marker scenarios than, like you said, guys who are used to it, who basically know that their job is to both try to perform but also don't trip up the leaders. And I think sometimes Sainz especially is still in that I was driving a Ferrari 2 years ago mindset of, it's my corner.
Even where he eventually lets Piastri past is kind of nuts. Like, he goes off track. Like, it's whatever, turn 9, 10, the sort of fake chicane almost kind of little bit they come up to at the end of in the second sector. He cuts the corner. Like, he doesn't like slow down and let him pass. He's like still fighting for that position, and he ends up just like going, oh, I'll just go straight here and let him pass that way, like, which is not standard operating procedure for blue flags either. So I think you're right. Ultimately, it is just a bit of a Sainz, the wrong guy to get caught behind. Am I crazy, or did we have the same? Was there a blue flag problem with Sainz last week, or was there some type of?
I think this is why in my head I'm like, this is like the second or third time.
Yeah, I have a memory of the past few races of there being another one, and in my head it was Sainz.
Wasn't there one last year with him and Tsunoda? That I have a strong memory of them getting into pretty hard contact last year. I can't remember whose fault it was, but I also feel like there was a blue flag situation there as well. But yeah, not as fine as hour certainly, but works out great for Lando, coming out. But the other thing is this: Lando then kind of proves the case to the point where, again, we were so close to getting a McLaren Classic because he pulls out. He's got a few car lengths on Lando when he comes out of the pits. And he just drives away, just blazes down the track. And maybe Piastri's a little bit compromised. They're doing like damage assessment on the car as he's turning these next few laps. But Norris is just down the road. And at some point, his engineer gets on the radio. Hey, man, we get it. You're the fastest driver on the track. You have nothing to prove. Stop doing this. And It feels like it is part of sometimes that story of like the Lando Norris passive aggression, where he gets into, and you didn't let team orders. You didn't give team orders to let me pass Oscar. I'm going to show you.
I'll show
and
you
he throws
my
like
papaya
he throws
rules.
like a little tantrum by going, like, getting all purple, like just going out, just being absolutely zooted on purple times
and closing up like 5 seconds on Antonelli. Granted, Antonelli has to swap for tires, but like he gobbles them up. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. But that's the point. It's a one race. Like, really, it kind of is. There's no need to close on Antonelli, though. You never know what's going to happen. I mean, to be fair, if what's going to happen in a minute had happened and Oscar and Norris hadn't closed up a ton of distance, maybe this is a different conversation. But it's not the first time we've had the McLaren pit wall kind of have to like,
yeah, be nice to your brother.
Man. We're saying, Uncle, it's over. Can we move on?
Are you
gonna be like this through dinner?
I almost spat on my computer.
Should we just go home?
I love this stuff because, like, the psychology of Formula One drivers is so interesting to me, especially like he has a championship.
Yeah.
And he's way far behind in this one.
But in fairness, this is the first time he's been leading a race. It's the first time he's, been properly leading a race, and first time he's had a pole since. So,
I watched a documentary series recently called Top Guns: The Next Generation.
Oh my God!
Like they follow fighter pilots as they're going through Top Gun school.
How new is it?
Past few years.
Okay, is it good?
It's a National Geographic series, and that's similarly you get this sort of cut from the movie Top Gun cloth of like hotshot pilots.
How many mustaches?
Like half the people are wearing mustaches. And then some completely like out of left field you would never expect. Like top of her class is a former yoga instructor.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Namaste, baby.
Yeah, really recommend it. But yeah, anyway, this is I love when this kind of stuff bubbles up because you can't suppress these sorts of like it might be part of what makes them that how good they are. So I think it's fascinating. We're going to take a quick break here, and then we will be back with the rest of the race. Okay, lap 42 for Verstappen. Pits from the lead and puts on soft tires. 29 laps from the finish. A few laps later, on lap 46, Norris dives up the inside of turn 1 on Antonelli, who, as we mentioned, is going long on those hard tires, hoping for a safety car. Antonelli fights back, but Norris has the inside of turn 2 and takes the lead. Antonelli eventually does pit on lap 54 for new hard tires, asking the team why they don't just go to the end on the hards, and he's told they don't think they have the tire life, meaning either the tires will degrade so much that he will plummet down the field or that they will explode.
Yeah, that seemed to me, from what I heard during and after, that he just didn't have the right information. Young driver optimism.
Yeah. And then on lap 56, as Rob alluded, Piastri slowing, gearbox problem, and brings out the virtual safety car after he pulls over and stops just off track.
Yes, so unlucky for Piastri, or for Antonelli as well, who was 3 laps earlier pitted at the end of his stint. If they had gone longer, like he suggested, even if it was naive, he would have got a much shorter pit stop out of it.
This came very close also to salvaging Russell's race a bit.
Yeah,
who'd worked his way pretty far forward and
seventh or something.
Yeah, distantly behind Antonelli, but was he moving into the space where he could have had a VSC pit stop and sort of been back within striking distance? Mooted at this point, the Mercedes both paid full fare for their pit stops, and then everyone else ahead of them gets the free tire change, basically. So it kind of locks the Mercedes into their lackluster finishing position while everyone else is tooling up for a sprint to the finish.
And it could have been worse too. Hamilton and Antonelli had an interesting little battle at the pit exit line there.
Yeah, on replay we see that Hamilton on that pit exit was actually behind Antonelli at the pit exit line, the line that goes across the track. Yeah, by like a foot. So while Hamilton does end up on track ahead of Antonelli when we get going again. Ferrari tells Hamilton to give the place back because the stewards were investigating it.
And not the only infraction. Well, that's not an infraction. Well, I guess it was a little bit of an infraction, but not the only infraction with Ferrari, with Hamilton and the pits. What is up? I feel like this is the third or fourth time he's done this year.
Speeding in the pit lane?
Yeah.
Yes. I just wanted to close off the
sorry.
pits in the safety car, or virtual safety car. Norris pits onto softs, as we mentioned, Hamilton and Leclerc. But Verstappen stays out. And of course, Antonelli had just pitted, so he does too. But when we restart, the order is Norris, Verstappen, Antonelli after the swap back, Hamilton, and then Leclerc in fifth. So Hamilton does his best to get by Antonelli, but has a 5-second penalty. And at this stage, he is ahead of Leclerc by about 5 seconds. But
4.5 or so. Looks, yeah.
He
was right on the line.
Close within that by the end of the race, meaning that Hamilton will drop behind him. And so we end the Hungarian Grand Prix thusly. Lando Norris takes the victory, the first McLaren victory. I believe Ferrari has had 2 over this year, and the rest were Mercedes. Max Verstappen comes home second place, having not pitted for the virtual safety car. And then Kimi Antonelli in third. Charles Leclerc fourth, after Lewis Hamilton drops behind him, and Lewis Hamilton ending up in sixth. And then about half a minute afield, Isaac Hadjar in sixth, followed by George Russell seventh. Liam Lawson is eighth. Nico Hulkenberg getting 2 points down there in ninth. And Arvid Lindblad, the last of the points-paying positions.
Do you have the lap chart there still?
I do, yes.
Did Verstappen, was his last pit that one on 42 when he went on to hards? Because that ends up being
onto softs.
He finished on softs. No, he didn't.
Yeah. Yep.
Did he? Oh, he did.
Yeah, 29 laps.
He did 29 laps on softs.
He did that. He stayed out.
Wow. So did Hulkenberg.
Fair
30
play.
Laps.
Hulkenberg, yeah, he got some points. He was in ninth, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, fair play for Verstappen. Yeah, that's no small feat.
Behind them, we've got Gabriel Bortoletto in 11th, Pierre Gasly in 12th, and then Lance Stroll and Fernando Alonso in 13th and 14th. Ooh. That's got to be a stronger showing than they've... Well, I guess Alonso got 11th on track and 10th.
How many retirements in this race? Just the one?
3. Piastri, Sergio Perez, and Valtteri Bottas.
Well...
yeah.
they ended up in the same position anyway.
Colapinto 15th, Ocon 16th, Albon 17th, Sainz 18th, and Oliver Behrman in 19th. He got a 5-second penalty for ignoring blue flags. And that's your Hungarian Grand Prix.
Not a great sign for Perez coming in with a new. Well, they both had new aero, right? But he started from the pit lane as well, didn't he?
He did, yeah.
And then doesn't finish the race. All right.
Listen, they're just... Cadillac's just
working out the kinks,
showing up. Yep. All right. Well, that is it for the race recap. Let's take it to the nears. Danny.
Yes, we finally have
Bahrain's back, baby.
Well, yes, but we're going to be moving it to Singapore. It's slightly further away from the Strait of Hormuz.
Singapore
and the
you mean
Bab al Mandeb.
Malaysia.
Sorry, what?
You mean Malaysia?
Malaysia.
You said Singapore.
Oh, I said Singapore. Did I say Singapore? Malaysia, sorry.
Are you getting it confused with Sepang, the name
I'm
of
getting it. That is literally exactly what I'm doing. So yes, they are moving it. So we Sepang is back, baby. We're doing it. They've also moved when it's going to happen, but obviously with the ridiculous conflict that is taking place in Iran, and now now we're in an even worse situation. If I feel like, I guess Jeddah was probably never going to be that much of an issue, but like when we're seeing how far these Iraqi drones are getting at the moment, basically the entire way across the Middle East at this stage, and being pretty accurate, and the fact that the memorandum of understanding has been thrown out again in the past couple of weeks. What we feared back months ago, that this Middle East war would drag on and on and on, and perhaps collect more and more nation states, has happened, especially in the past couple of weeks. So Bahrain obviously was one that was cancelled, where they are going to swap out essentially where they're adding in a race to basically fix that one. There are two more. So sorry, like I said, again, a bit all over the place here. We are going to Sepang, which is I think I speak for all of us when I say this is a great circuit that we should be very happy to go back to. This and Turkey were two just wonderfully fun tracks. This was maybe my favorite. This and Portimao are maybe the two that I wish would be back on the calendar forever.
Well, this one's kind of the prototype of a ton of tracks were built that echo bits of Malaysia. Like you look at like the end of the third sector and the start of sector 1 in China.
Yes,
they're very much like, what worked was Malaysia, but nothing quite hits like the original. You've got the two back-to-back straights that sort of go around that like long spar of grandstand, and then you've got the slightly hilly section there, the twisting uphill section in Malaysia, and the whole thing is got volatile weather.
Yeah.
So you never that was the other part that you missed out. You didn't just lose a great track, you lost Malaysian weather, which was always a decent shot to introduce chaos into the Grand Prix. So yeah, it is one of those things where obviously it's a horrible situation in the world right now. There's a lot of serious and horrible stuff and people losing their lives. There are very serious consequences here. But in the tiny little sandbox that we're in over here, it is at least neat that we get back one great track, and we get away from a lot of these really underwhelming tracks in the Gulf states that we've been saddled with for years as F1 has chased that check. And hey, fair play to them. It seems like they found a way to get that check. Right? This is the Bahrain Grand Prix at Sepang International in Malaysia. So, bullet
Bizarre.
dodged.
Bizarre.
We're still getting that. We're still getting that money.
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously the circumstances are absolutely horrific. And the quicker all of that conflict can end and this American aggression can end, the better. American and Israeli aggression. But yeah, I'm I'll take the Singapore Grand Prix as I keep saying it, the Malaysian Grand Prix at Sepang. We had it from 1990 to 2017, and when it came off the calendar, I was super, super sad about it. I cannot believe it's been 9 years since we drove here. It really doesn't feel that long ago.
This past Christmas, I was sitting there on eBay looking at a Malaysian GP edition of Ferrari Ray-Bans.
Oh.
And I was like, I deserve those Ray-Bans. And I can't overstate the degree to which they were just pretty standard Ray-Bans with a tiny little bit on the flange that was Malaysia and then a Ferrari logo,
printed on.
red tipped earpieces. It was the most gas station ass pair of Ray-Ban sunglasses. But I was like, I don't know, $600 seems like might be fair.
So obviously this is replacing Bahrain, but we do have the issue of Qatar and Abu Dhabi, which, if you know anything about Middle Eastern politics, you will know are very, very close to Iran. Right. So, we mentioned this months and months and months ago that this was going to be a problem. With the current situation the way it is, as I was alluding to earlier, there's absolutely, I think, no way in hell that either of these races are going to go ahead in their respective circuits. And we saw the first movement towards that possibly being announced I think yesterday, July 28th is this. No, earlier today. The FIA and WEC, so the World Endurance Championship, have decided to alter the 2026 calendar due to ongoing conflict in the Middle East. I have this from Yahoo Sports, our friends over there. They are going to be replacing the 8 hours of Bahrain and swapping it to Barcelona, Catalonia instead. And I think there might be another one getting shifted around there as well. There's actually a quote here from Mohammed Ben Saliem. I'm incredibly proud of the collaboration that will enable Barcelona and Monza, to host FIA World Endurance Championship rounds later this year. The FIA has worked closely with our partners in Qatar and Bahrain, so it's both of them, in recent months to explore every option to preserve both events this season, but due to the ongoing situation in the region, the safety of our teams, colleagues, and motorsport fans remains our highest priority. It's untenable. Like unless we have some crazy reversal, but the fact that all of these little ceasefires keep getting immediately undermined, like it just, I mean,
you got like two of the least trustworthy, like, heads of state in the world right now. And there appears to be nobody will stop Israel from like continuing to terrorize Lebanese. And so whatever deals are signed, it keeps falling apart because nobody can or will leash what has become a clearly rogue state. And I really don't care. Like, people write in about that. I seriously don't care. Do not care to hear like whether or not this is what you tune into here, or you have a different take on it. If you have a different take on it, I'm sorry, you're wrong. And I'm better informed and have better values than you. Moving on from that, though, far be it from me to denigrate anybody's hard work, but does the FIA have to do all that much to move these races? Like, you get these, like, hey, everyone's been burning the midnight oil trying to get these races rescheduled, and I know there's more to it than just like calling up the circuit, like ownership and like promoters and be like, so you got any dates available? I know there's more to it than that, but at the same time, is this really the hardest problem to solve?
I suspect most of the work, I mean, on the FAA side, there might be legal contract stuff, force majeure, blah, blah, blah. I think most of the work for this is at the circuits. Because if you're saying, okay, we have to put on an F1 race now in 2 months' time, can you imagine all the like local like vendors, legal things, local councils, transport, infrastructure? You know what I mean? That's Sepang is doing all the work for this one. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Racefans.net, I love you, but you have not mentioned when the race is taking place.
Oh, I have it here.
It is October 4th. And the-race.com expands on what Rob was saying, or what you guys were saying.
Oh, well, they went off on Israel too?
People's values being wrong?
No.
Free Palestine, is that what it says on Race Fans?
Gulf Air Bahrain is sponsoring the Malaysian, the Grand Prix in Malaysia. It will actually be called the Gulf Air Bahrain Grand Prix in Malaysia.
It's like a NASCAR race.
Title of, yes.
Food City.
But that, I think, to your point, Danny, is where the real wheeling and dealing happens, because that's the national airline is funding the.
Yeah, like how Singapore is supposed to just quickly sell a race. You know what I mean? Yeah, it's
Sepang.
So God, this is all F1's fault for taking Sepang off the track, off the calendar. Now I'm saying this. It also means that I think we get if the last two races happen, I think we get 9 races in 11 weeks at the end of the season. It's it's because they're cramming a new one in there.
Cool.
But they have to replace the other two. Like if that doesn't get announced during the summer break, we are going to have.
You can't approach your season finale just hoping it's all going to work out.
Not the final 2 races of the year. If you lose one of them, that's a massive implication on the at least the drivers' championship, perhaps, if it's going to go down to the end. Where would you like to see? Again, trying to silver lining this awful cloud. What tracks would you like to? I mean, let's get Portimao back in there, baby. Let's go.
Hockenheim.
Don't.
Yeah.
Oh, Hockenheim's great. Don't go in your.
Especially in the autumn. Like, God knows what that trip, like, cold.
Jesus.
Hot damn.
Good point. Actually, that's a good point. That might actually preclude, because we're talking about late November for these. So we're like,
Oh, shit, you're right. They could be at frost.
yes, they're not going to
at
want
these
to.
places.
I mean, Abu Dhabi is the first week of December. So we're not going to. Hockenheim. Don't go to Paul Ricard. Just please don't go back.
so-
Crazy
Guys.
idea. What if instead this year we wrap up the Formula One Grand Prix by racing Miatas around Magny-Cours?
When was the last time we were in Manicourt? Must have been the 90s, was it?
It was like the early 2000s, but yeah.
Man, back to Manicourt. That's the one no one
They
was
did a stage of the Tour de France. Rolled
cool.
off at Magny-Cours.
Wowee. I mean, let's just get real traditional for us, 90s F1 heads and ended in Interlagos, that's not going to happen because Vegas is after that, but still, that'll be a fun time.
Speaking of fun time, Rob, it doesn't seem like Piastri is having one.
No, but aside from just the negative outcome of this weekend's race, he actually kind of went off on just an aspect of the way these cars work, which is how the engine deployment works. The racefans.net excerpted a bit of remarks he made talking about the power unit regulations. And he explains, even with the previous hybrid engines, there was a big element of learning, coding, and AI to some extent. When I joined Formula One, these engines were incredibly mature, but also the penalty of things being slightly wrong or slightly out of place was significantly less because it was such a small percentage of the overall power you got. Whereas this year, it's basically half your power. So any small differences or anything that doesn't quite go right has a massive impact, especially at a track like Spa. We got no control over where the deployment happens, more or less. You can push the boost button, but that's more for overtaking than qualifying, especially. When you got these differences there that you have no control over, it can be frustrating. I'm sure it'll get better. I don't expect it to fully go away, but as the manufacturers understand it more and work out the regulation restrictions more in terms of what the code can't do, hopefully things will become a bit better. And he described it as sometimes being a passenger like experience in the car. And yeah, I think this is probably the aspect of this that's like cooling me the most on these regulations, is the degree to which a number of drivers are reporting a feeling of the car being fairly arbitrary and them not really being in the loop on what is happening with the car and what it's going to do. And that is kind of antithetical to the spirit of like Formula One, sort of a car and driver sport. The driver's a big part of it, and to have them increasingly at the mercy of what's undoubtedly like very sophisticated software is an engineering challenge. I'm sure it's fascinating, but having so many drivers talking about these issues where, yeah, sometimes they tell the car to do one thing and it simply refuses because the battery deployment has decided they can't have more power and they don't know why. That is kind of a lousy place to leave the drivers.
Yeah, I am also souring to this stuff because of what we've seen when it comes to the drivers having to fight the cars, essentially, with the way in which, we talked about the how the whatever it is, ML or AI stuff is learning the laps and doing deployment stuff. And I'm obviously, a lot of us here are pretty skeptical of some of this software and its uses, but even just removing that sort of moral or ethical or personal thing out of the equation, I think it is antithetical to the sport. Obviously, things have always been added in to increase safety or maybe take some of the cron jobs out of the way. We don't have gear shifters anymore. Progress is progress. I'm not a Luddite, but there does seem to be a certain amount of the car accelerating itself, which, it's not driving itself, but it seems to be doing a lot of the work of when it deploys this battery stuff, to the point where I think it was a Behrman or someone this weekend was just saying, like, I just can't keep answering questions about it because like it just makes it sound like you know how we all feel about it. Like, you know, I don't want to sound like a broken record talking about this every single race weekend. Like I'm, you know, and I think that feeling is shared a lot throughout the paddock and maybe waxes and wanes a little bit depending on where people are finishing. But yeah, it's becoming a real problem for them. And I think as this season goes on and we are having, we had a great start to the season when it came to overtaking and we've had some great moments, but coming off of last season's excitement and these new regulations, I think this stuff is quickly becoming the boogeyman and is going to be the sort of the focus of ire for a lot of fans. And it's, you know, deserved it to a certain extent.
Yeah, I mean, they are taking steps to, you know, reduce the reliance on battery power for next year. So I hope at least that some of the stuff that Piastri's talking about is mitigated.
Well, and I think it certainly would be,
it's...
because the issues they're having are issues where, like, when you're slicing really thin margins, you start having to do a lot of things with like electronic control. So even an adjustment of like 10% on the slider, right, would probably ease a lot of that. Like, I think you're probably right. But it is kind of funny that they've kind of fallen backwards into mirroring, I think, some issues that have happened with passenger cars as well, where it's like we're creating things that feel really disconnected from what the driver is doing. You argue that yet another version of this happened to Russell at the start of this race.
Yeah, did you see Sebastian Vettel out there saying like none of this stuff trickles down to road cars?
Yeah, I mean that's been an argument that is as old as time.
And Lando out there saying like the only reason they did this was to entice Audi into the sport.
Yeah, I think also I think it helps. It's like a lot of the what we see with, I think, with large corporations and even getting into AI just to appease their shareholders. I think F1 also needs to look like it is progressing in a meaningful direction, and I think that trickles down to the teams and how they invest and how they justify their investment to their stakeholders and shareholders and management and stuff like that. So I'm not saying this whole thing is a ruse, but there's definitely an element of sort of financial politic that applies to this sort of stuff. Like, I think once F1 starts to get stagnant, it becomes harder to source some of that cash. But yeah, the road safety thing, like, because it's funny, you'll watch like these YouTube videos of like, tell me about what F1 is, and one of the things they always say is like, why do they spend so much money on this? Well, it's because a lot of this stuff trickles down. Did you know about side impact bars?
I mean, I'm sure we
seat belts said it
in our primer.
Totally, we have in our primer.
It did.
It did. But is it overstated a lot? Absolutely. You know what I mean? Like, I don't have DRS on my Jeep, Rob.
No, like, one, endurance racing was always more where you were seeing actual stuff that was road relevant because you're just logging a lot of intense miles,
very true.
In one go,
yeah.
Which is closer to a road car. But there were moments where progress was made on axes that were road relevant. But yeah, we're kind of past that. I think the big, even aside from the big objection to like the battery units are too heavy, these ways that you're implementing them are too intrusive. I think the big failing is kind of they just didn't find a way to make it fun. You like, this is a sport, right? This is clearly, these are game rules that they are setting. They adjust the sliders on like deployment pretty much as needed. They got an incredible amount of control over the way they implement this.
That's true.
And they just have not done a good job of like, okay, the game of an F1 lap, the game of an F1 race, how does the power unit like interact with that? Formula E was shameless about this stuff. Fuck it. We're putting F-Zero Turbo Zone on the edge of the track. They just fully leaned into it. And Formula One has kind of, in a weird way, for all they kind of can't stop talking about, now they've got the boost and is someone held on to a bit of charge. They've created something that's enormously opaque to the drivers, and it mostly shows up as a, hey, why did that car suddenly turn to shit? And the answer is usually, oh yeah, the computer decided it was turn to shit boat.
Speaking of, Rob, do you want to add some color to what Mercedes is dealing with this power unit stuff?
Well, they put a new engine in first to try to like run down the issues that were causing Russell problems these last couple races with straight line speed. But in the cool down room after this race, Antonelli had a theory about what had happened to Russell, because it's something that the driver's been dealing with. He thought that Russell got by a what they're calling top of the pack issue, and the race explained it thusly: the top of the pack issue relates to one of the big challenges that drivers have faced in trying to master the art of getting 2026 turbo hybrids off the start line. As part of the start sequence for the complicated 2026 cars, drivers need to hold high revs for several seconds to help build exhaust energy, spin the turbine, reduce turbo lag before launch. The aim is to maximize turbo boost before the start for that critical initial launch phase, where extra battery power from the MGUK is not allowed until the car is at 50 kilometers per hour. Drivers have to carefully manage the timing of this process because high revving charges the battery, and if it hits the top of the pack, then that can have a consequence in the MGUK then not providing any resistance, turbo boost falling off, the revs going sky high, and the fuel flow and throttle opening being cut off.
Amazing. So if the battery gets full too quick, then it's
not going to continue building charge.
Yeah.
It screws up the resistance the car encounters, really, like leaving the line, and then it sounds like fuel flow limiters cut in because the engine spikes, and
because that energy's got to go somewhere. Yeah. Huh.
So that was Antonelli's theory, because apparently it's something a number of drivers have dealt with, and that when you see something like that with these cars, that's usually what you're thinking. It turns out, though, Mercedes did analysis. They ruled that explanation out. They said it appears to be an issue with the car's rev control management. There was a major fluctuation in revs as Russell was sitting there on the line. He tried to manage it by, according to the race, adjusting his throttle application during the start sequence.
So he could feel it then.
Yeah, and in manipulating the throttle to try to get things lined up for the start, Russell had the misfortune of being at 10% throttle when the lights went out. So he's sitting there, and it sounds like he's watching his revs start to, again, it sounds like without him fully being in control of the revs, he's watching his revs bounce.
Yeah.
And he starts trying to feather the throttle, trying to find it, and it dips right as the lights go out. They mentioned this may have been made worse by the fact that it was an unusually long hold on the grid.
Right.
And so things might have fallen out of cal or something. But yeah, yet another example of it seems like there's now a number of systems sort of, especially at the start, intermediating between driver, power unit, inputs, etc. And that software that mediates it is consistently voting for Kimi.
Yeah, I mean, we knew that the first year of new regulations, teams would be finding their footing. I am surprised that halfway through the season, these sorts of things aren't really ironed out. But, I guess if this is accurate, is it an edge case?
The problem seems like increasingly not. I think what we have here, though, like you have to imagine it as like a little like Wall-E situation or like an anime where like the cars are alive and they've fallen in love with Kimi Antonelli and Russell's mean to them. And so like the cars are working.
It's a Megan situation. Is that what you're saying? Okay.
Yeah. And like nobody knows why the cars are turning against Russell, but it's because he's cruel to them. He's a cruel master.
Oh wait, why did we bring up Cars and Megan when the obvious answer to this is Christine?
Yeah, no, for sure.
Oh my God!
Look, if Antonelli shows
F1
up in
car.
rockabilly gear,
exactly. Yeah.
Is this
Russell's in his car and suddenly the radio turns on and plays a weird song from the '60s about being in love with?
Okay, here's the thing. I think Russell should consider a pivot to rockabilly.
He can pull it off. He could. He could be a greaser.
He has to change the energy. He has to change the energy.
Yeah.
He has to go full rockabilly.
Why hasn't he never done like an Elvis thing in Vegas?
George Ponyboy Russell.
He could roll up some cigarettes in his sleeve.
Yeah, absolutely. Sure. Oh boy, yeah. Come on.
That's good stuff.
American Graffiti.
He's on the Zin for free.
All right. The Fantasy League is joinable using the link in the show notes. That's the official Shift+F1 Fantasy League.
Fantasy.
Here's the podium from Hungary. We have a two-way tie for third between Vi on the Fly and Charles Leclerc Cookies.
Okay. I'll eat those.
In second, Cheeky Fernando's.
Beautiful. Makes me laugh every time. Ha.
And in first, Uncle Gene's Haas Beans. But overall, the standings look like this. In third, Cigarettes.
Of course.
In second, Fan Amp Fantasy HQ. And in first, the perennial Macarena. But in Formula One land, the non-fan, in reality, the driver standings look like this. Kimi Antonelli is on top with 219 points. Lewis Hamilton in second with 169. George Russell third with 160.
Oh, George. Oh, no.
Charles Leclerc in fourth with 138. Lando Norris in fifth now with 128. Max Verstappen is in sixth with 109. Oscar Piastri in seventh with 92. In eighth is Isaac Hadjar with 68. Liam Lawson is in ninth with 43. And Pierre Gasly in 10th with 42. Then we've got Arvid Lindeblad in 11th. Franco Colapinto in 12th. Oliver Behrman in 13th. Gabriel Bortoleto in 14th. Carlos Sainz in 15th. Alex Albon in 16th. Then Esteban Ocon, Nico Hulkenberg, Fernando Alonso in 19th. And the 0 points scorers of Lance Stroll, Valtteri Bottas, and Sergio Perez.
Hey, shout out to Isaac Hadjar. Got up to sixth in that race.
Yeah?
Yeah, fair play.
Oh, gosh. Did we run down the finishing?
We did, yeah.
Oh, okay. Mercedes is on top of the team standings with 379 points. Ferrari is in second with 307. McLaren is in third with 220. Red Bull is in fourth with 177. Racing Bulls in fifth with 66. Alpine in sixth with 61. Gene Haas and team in seventh with 21 points. They are just quietly cruising along there in seventh.
Yeah.
Although that is a big gap to sixth place. You know what I don't hear a lot about these days? Formula 1.5. Sort of movement, I think, on Reddit, where they were like, oh, the top three teams always finish in the top three, so therefore we're only going to pay attention to the rest of the pack. I think with 4 teams...
I think that's what it is.
Yeah, agreed.
It broke the equilibrium, and also it's not like Formula 1. The problem is, now Formula 1.5 developed the same problem, where it's like, and here are the big 3 of Formula 1.5.
Right.
And then it's like, so what are the rest of these losers doing here? Although, hey, Aston Martin did not humiliate itself for a weekend.
True.
That's true.
They were let down, but it was not humiliation.
Yeah. Audi in 8th with 12. Williams in 9th with 11. And Aston Martin still going strong with that 1 point in 10th, ahead of Cadillac in 11th with 0. As we head into the summer break. You can send us an email if you like, shiftf1podcast@gmail.com or f1.cool/emails. We'll be also taking the summer break off. We'll be back ahead of the Dutch Grand Prix on our August 19th episode, and that will be an emails episode, so get them in.
Get them in. Just 2 weeks off now. We'll be back.
Yeah. You can also hit us up on the socials if you like, using the links in the show notes. That's us around the internet. Do we want to take it around the world, Danny?
Let's race around the world. Yeah.
Oh man, should I read everything that's happening while
Oh
we're
my
out?
God.
Okay. I guess I should, right?
Let's do it.
All right.
Let's do it. Let's get it all in there. All the silly sponsors.
Woo! The World Rally Championship is in Jyväskylä, Finland, for the Secto Rally Finland.
Secto.
This sounds like an Incredibles hero.
Yeah, I was about to say it sounds like like a bad guy from like an insect Pixar movie.
We've got the Repco Supercars in Nirabup, WA. What is
Wisconsin?
Is that Western territory? I don't know.
WA?
Yeah, I'm not.
What country?
Sorry, Australia.
Oh,
Australia.
wow. It's no, I was about to say something. I had a word and then I wasn't sure if that was actually a racist term. So I'm just not going to say it.
Good.
It's is it Western? Oh, whatever. I'll look it up.
So what are you trying to fish? Sorry, you're not looking up the racist term. You're trying to fish.
No, I'm looking up the play. Yeah, Western Australia apparently is the name of the state. It's where Perth is. There.
Right. We got the Northern Territory and Western Australia.
Yeah. Yeah.
Townsville. Understood. That's the Perth Super 400 for the Repco Supercars at Wanneroo Raceway. Wanneroo. Motocross Grand Prix is at the Urban Motocross Center in Lommel, Belgium for the MX Grand Prix of Flanders.
Oh my God. It's great. The Urban Flanders.
I was going to make a joke about
the herbs,
motocross bikes running across the field in World War One, but
did they use motorbikes? Well, they had those sidecar ones, right?
Yeah, the motorcycle existed back then.
Yeah. Okay.
They weren't going off.
We've got Super GT at the Fuji Speedway in the eastern foothills of Mount Fuji in Oyama, Sunto District, Shizuoka Prefecture.
Oh.
What else we got going on here? Motocross Grand Prix at Silverstone. This is all this weekend, by the way.
Sick.
For the Silverstone round. Okay, now, this calendar says we got some NASCAR stuff, but I don't think that's accurate. I'm going to go to the website.
He doesn't trust it. He's going to the primary source.
That's right.
Jonathan NASCAR himself. I need to know. I need to know what sponsors we've got this time.
What month is it? Okay. No, we don't have anything this weekend for that series. I'm so sorry.
Nose car.
Doing it on the fly. I closed all the NASCAR tabs because I thought we were only doing this weekend, but now I've got to open them back up. Okay. IndyCar.com is at the Portland International Raceway in Portland, Oregon for the BitNile.com Grand Prix of Portland.
Nile.
BitNile.
Oh, BitNile. Is that some sort of Bitcoin?
Almost certainly. Super Formula is at Sportsland Sugo.
Oh, Sportsland.
That's in the town of Murata, Shibata District, Miyagi Prefecture. For everyone keeping score at home.
Mr. Wells, we need you to read this promo for Sportsland.
Yeah.
Oh,
yes, the Sportland is fine champagne. I have to watch that now.
Okay. That was this coming weekend, and now the following weekend, we're really stumbling to the summer break.
I went there with my Orson Welles. Oh, you think the champagne is your ally? I was born in the champagne.
The Craftsman Trucks is coming up at Richmond, Virginia for, guess what? The NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series race at Richmond.
Wow, great.
That's what the website is calling
it. Hey, great job, everyone. 2 weeks, $5 million. We figured out the name. Agency.
The O'Reilly Auto Parts Series is at Iowa Speedway on August 8th for the Hy-Vee Perks 250. I'm just going to do all these in one big chunk. We got Formula E in London, DTM at the Nürburgring on August 6th, 15th, 16th. IndyCar is back on August 16th at Honda Indy Markham in Ontario for the Ontario Honda Dealers Indy at Markham.
Wow. Canadian Hondas. Get them now.
Are they all red like the
Canadian Hondas? Yeah, they're the best Hondas. Canadian Hondas are the best. Mexican Coke and Canadian Hondas. That's how you live a good life.
Okay. Do they just not have sponsors yet? The Iowa race for the O'Reilly Auto Parts is called the NASCAR O'Reilly Auto Parts Series race at Iowa.
I don't know what's happening, man.
Yeah, I don't know.
We need to get some
recession indicator.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. You're right. This is the canary.
Of the bowling people, like, hey, you guys want to hear about? We're gonna do the Go Bowling thing again, right? And they're like, no, it's tough up there.
Sorry, Food City. We've had to rename ourselves Food Village.
Yep.
Yeah, you're right. This is a canary in the coal mine. This is it. Food Town.
Oh, we got NASCAR with some sponsors here. We got the Iowa Corn 350 powered by ethanol.
That's every new metal fan knows the corner from Bakersfield and the Iowa band is Slipknot. So they got this one wrong. They got to rename this.
Followed by on the following Saturday in Richmond, the Cookout 400.
Yeehaw.
Yep.
400 cookouts.
Finally, someone's bringing attention to cooking out at a race.
Yes. For far too long.
Hey, y'all, I don't think you needed to sponsor this one. I think the cameras are going to make people think of cooking out. Just passing around the infield.
It's like the baseball cap 500. No, we're good.
We talk a lot about like, well, what F1 Grand Prix would you go to? I'm thinking now of other like, well, I would like to see the Indy 500 one day, but I also think I don't have a necessarily an allegiance to a particular. I mean, I guess if you had to pick one, the Daytona 500 for NASCAR, but I think I would like to be on the infield for a NASCAR race one day.
Oh yeah, that'd be fun.
What if you combine them both though, and you went to the infield at the Indy 500 and entered your dirtbag era?
I want to go see Talladega after we did wasn't it Talladega? What was that
Talladega
weird?
Nights?
No, not Talladega Nights. The Logan Lucky. Which one was that?
Oh, was that Talladega? No,
Charlotte.
Yeah.
Oh, it was okay.
That'd
okay.
be good. Yeah, no, because then we could pay homage to Logan Lucky.
Yeah, what a great movie. If you've not seen Logan Lucky, which I suspect most people have not, it's a damn good time. Great fun. Ocean's 11,
there's a
but
Patreon
funny.
episode.
Yeah, there is.
All right, that's what's going on in the next 2 weekends. Danny, what happened this day in history?
This day.
Hey, should you just read the next 2 weeks?
Oh, Jesus Christ.
F1 history.
Patreon
and
exclusive.
The grisliest moments from...
See if we can dodge it. Oh boy. June 28th. Jack Brabham started his own racing team in 1962, but it was not the Australian driver who took the team's first World Championship victory. That honor fell to American driver Dan Gurney, who won the French Grand Prix at Rouen today in 1964. Gurney also took victory